Okay, last and most certainly not least, Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1. And it's no surprise that Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 1 feels incomplete because, after all, they call it Part 1 for a reason. It's not trying to be like a spoof movie like Airplane 2, the sequel, or something like that. Because this is Part 1 and Part 2. It will be coming somewhere down the road. The end of the Mammoth series will arrive in July, and hopefully it will offer some sense of resolution. But Part 1, alas, as expected, leaves us hanging, like The Empire Strikes Back or any Star Wars film, or even, more so to more recent audiences, the second Lord of the Rings film. And it's a bridge movie hovering somewhere between a beginning and an end. Now, but here's the big difference, though. The Empire Strikes Back and Lord of the Rings was interesting all the way through it. Like, there were never any dull moments. I gave both those movies. I gave pretty much every movie in the original Star Wars trilogy 5 stars. I gave every Lord of the Rings movie 5 stars. Now, here's the thing. Expect to be frustrated in this film because it's gonna get to you. Even I think some big fans, just like, I can't wait till July. Well, hey, be thankful, people. Star Wars fans had to wait 3 years. At least with Lord of the Rings, we had to wait 1. But on the other hand, Part 1 is classy, it's entertaining, and it's really imaginative, just like the other Harry Potter films. Now, again, with the Harry Potter series, I didn't warm up to it right away. The first Harry Potter film, I believe, I gave 2.5 stars out of 5, which really, when somebody asked me what the ratings I give some of these movies, they were outraged when I said that. But as time went on, the ratings and the quality, in my opinion, of these Harry Potter films went up. By the time I reached Prisoner of Azkaban, I was at 4 stars. And the last couple, Order of the Phoenix and the Half-Blooded Prince, I gave 4.5 out of. This one it's got the same elements that make the other Potter films work. There's plenty of humor, plenty of magic, and even a bit of romantic stress. Which, hey, they're teenagers after all, right? I mean, that sort of stuff does happen. It's done in a really nice, fun fashion, like the other previous Potter films. In fact, Harry spends a good deal of this film, and here's one of my problems with it: not knowing what to do. He's in a forest, camping, not knowing what to do. He's on the Rocky Hills, not knowing what to do. He's in another forest, still not knowing what to do. And we're still wondering where the plot's supposed to go and whatnot. And if you want a fun-filled, fun-filled film with camping and mulling around, then this is for you. As with, again, as the Potter films go on, they get darker with a more sense of self-awareness than the previous one before it. But again, this film tries to, in my opinion, just tries hard to fill the time it's given. It's like they want to make it more epic by splitting it into 2. In my opinion, that's just not necessary. Now, I gotta say too that in this film, as for the story, of course, Lord Voldemort, played by Ralph Fiennes, of course, who I think is a fantastic actor and really gives this character a sense of evil that it truly possesses. Even just looking at this character, you can sense it's evil. If he does kind of look ridiculous, looks very evil. But because Harry, of course, played by Daniel Radcliffe, who else? Is the only one who might defeat him. After a few, early casualties and the reintroduction of some very familiar, colorful characters that we, all grown to love over time, Harry sets off along with Hermione, played by the engaging Emma Watson, and Ron, Rupert Grint, who in my opinion is actually a very talented actor. And they go off to find and destroy some artifacts and reclaim the sword. Now, the reason why is probably perfectly clear to anyone who read the book, but who really cares? Now, the first artifact they find is an amulet that, acts a whole lot like a certain piece of jewelry from Lord of the Rings. It's unbreakable, it's addictive, and it makes whoever's wearing it quite grumpy and brooding. Ooh. And that's really just all that goes on. Our heroes run from the bad guy and look for mysterious things. Oh, and there's a bit of a 3-way romantic tip. And not in that way you're thinking either, people. Don't get your minds into the gutter. Considering how little goes on, quite a bit goes on still. But yet, it's again, it could have been cut down. We start out with, multiple Harrys and a funny opening sequence, and then later there's no Harry as the 3 take on alternate body forms. Now, I gotta say, Helena Bonham-Carter really embodies, I guess you could say, a bit of wickedness in these Potter movies, and I really enjoy her as a Bellatrix, and she has just such a snarl towards her character that's just really fun to watch. And I just love how, you know, when they pop up here and they take over the screen, and that's what's engaging about these villainous characters. There's more than there's more than a bit going on politically, as well as Voldemort's lackeys, you know, impose a Nazi-like rule over the world of magic, and alliance between humans and magicians take on an even stronger, you know, kind of divide. Yet still, part one is part one, and it feels way too stretched. You can understand the studio and the fans wanting to hold on to the franchise as long as possible, but it might have been wiser to shoot the final book as one movie. With the Star Wars and Lord of the Rings films, you needed a lot of that stuff to go in there. That's why the Lord of the Rings waited until video to even extend more footage. Even the Star Wars series just still had a lot of little points to go on and builds up the story as truly epic. We already know Potter's epic. We get the point. It doesn't need to be any more epic than it is. But despite the dragging, it's still effective, and I enjoyed it for the most part. So I give Harry Potter 3 stars out of 5 for the Deathly Hallows.